makerspace, of the ethics behind our makerspaces, and give you a little bit of the context that you're operating in, which you may be completely familiar with. But my world is always about making the case for what you do to the economic development directors, the mayors, the governors, those people with the purse power that we need to be continuing to invest in the work that you guys are doing. So let me tell you a little bit about where we are. This is going to come as no shock. We are in a little bit of a different moment in the world today. We were dealing with tariffs. They were impacting our product businesses, let alone our makerspaces, and many other kinds of businesses. Federal funding has been cut from so many different kinds of programs, and our local tax base all over the country, not just in Maryland, are struggling. This is the reality that we are functioning in with the work that we are doing. And on top of this, our local elected officials, for the most part, as well as in some cases our state elected officials, are operating with an economic development playbook left over from the 80s. The hairbands were awesome for those of us who were there, but the rest of it we can really let go. And the problem is that they're not paying attention to the micro business, the maker, the artisan, the person creating the new advanced manufacturing technology using tools like what we have in this makerspace, but they're doing it in their garage, and they can make real money for their household exactly at that scale because of the technology available today. Things you completely know in your own work, but that our elected officials and our appointees do not. And the reality is that the cavalry is not coming. There is no big business that is coming to save any community anymore. Everybody is going to fight for this on their own. And the positive, though, is that we have the talent that we need in every one of our communities. And you guys are the ones helping that talent see the light of day and get access to that design and creative exploration to become entrepreneurs if they want, to create a new business if they want, to create a new idea in any part of that work. And you guys are the ones doing the critical work to get there. But we still have something that's missing in all of this in most communities, and this is where we work. So ReCast City is my firm. As Will said, we work with communities to bring small-scale manufacturers, artisans to advanced manufacturing, out into the local economy. Your makerspaces and the programs that you do are a key piece of building that pipeline of the economy for every one of our communities. And yes, I wrote a book about it. It's called ReCast Your City. We'll talk about it later. I will say that just on a personal note, I grew up in a house where there were always projects. We always joked about it, but my mother, there were always projects. There was an art project, there was a sewing project. She made what year was it? My sophomore year of high school dress, she sewed it. It was electric blue. It was really electric blue. Like, that is the household that I grew up with, and I didn't realize that that's not how every household was. And as I grew up and I got involved in the maker movement, which I just loved everything I ever could access in, this became an aha moment for me that it was about education, but as education matures, it became about business, and it became about entrepreneurship too. And that's what I focus on, and that's what I want to talk to you about briefly today, is small-scale manufacturing. That's what I call these businesses. Anybody who's making a tangible product that you can replicate or package, I call small-scale manufacturing. It is a sector we have in every single community. It's part of our history, it's part of our culture, it's about showcasing who we are, and it is about what you all do every day. And our local economic strength is dependent on it. I want that to sink in with you, for you to really take to heart that the work that you're doing is building local economic strength. I want to talk about 3 truths. I'm gonna bet you guys know these, but I feel like they're important to talk about. The pipeline of this sector runs from bow ties to voting. What does that mean? It means that it is people making products on at their kitchen table and in their garage, and it is people creating products that are supplying global brands. It is, as I said, artisans to advanced manufacturing, and it is businesses with 50 or fewer employees, including single-person businesses. I don't know how much you guys look at economic impact data like I do, but most databases completely remove single person businesses, which is our greatest potential for growth in our community. It's where our creativity lies. And from an economic development standpoint, this is where our makerspaces also can make the biggest difference. To me, this is a continuum as we're thinking about people who are creating bow ties, and I'm gonna tell you my favorite story about that, all the way through advanced manufacturing. It's also the folks that are gonna fill our storefronts. If you're from a community that has many vacant storefronts, which is pretty much every community in the country right now, small scale manufacturing businesses, especially consumer product ones, are phenomenal businesses to fill those storefronts. Nisha Blackwell is from Pittsburgh. She grew up in Hopewell, in a neighborhood in Pittsburgh. She knew people who started businesses, but nobody who had a business who survived. She used to go thrifting with her mother and her grandmother. They'd get all sorts of things. They'd give it out to people in the neighborhood. They'd turn them into new products. She never learned how to sew, though. She went to a birthday party for a friend and didn't have money to make something for her friend's new baby. She spent all night looking at YouTube videos, taught herself how to sew, and showed up with a hair bow for the baby. She left the birthday party of friends with orders for 6 hair bows, baby hair bows. She then did a local accelerator program. She was an artist in residence in another space. She now has a storefront in a neighborhood in Pittsburgh. She's created a group of sewists, 29 sewists throughout the area who work with her when she has large orders. She's trained them all how to do the fine work that she needs for the bow ties. She mentors all of them to be their own entrepreneurs for their own businesses. She's been featured in the Carnegie Museum. She's got a Google commercial. Her storefront is beautiful. This is a maker, right? She's a maker. This is small scale manufacturing. This is the heart of our community. This is economic power in our communities. This is also part of small scale manufacturing. It's an amazing business out in Arkansas. They're making pieces that are going out to space. It is a 40-person business. This is as advanced manufacturing as you get, although that seems like a crazy spectrum at this point. In Arkansas, the State Economic Development Office and the Manufacturing Extension Partnership would never pay attention to this business because it's fewer than 50 employees. We have this enormous sector that is being ignored all over the country. And on top of that, the multiplier, for anybody who wants to know what a multiplier means, for every dollar we spend in that sector, we get this much out the other side. The manufacturing multiplier is higher than, I think, pretty much any other sector. So the impact that we have on communities when we are investing in makers and small-scale manufacturing and scaling those businesses is unbelievable. Number 2, these businesses bring money into our communities. These are new dollars that are kept in the community, right? When a business in your community, a maker, an artisan, advanced manufacturing, sells something online, they are a revenue importer into your community. And that's an important selling point for your work. They pay better, that more of that money stays local, and they are that revenue importer. The money stays in the community. On top of that, there's great new research from Main Street America that shows that they spend money more locally, and their online sales are bringing money in, and they're circulating those dollars even more than other kinds of businesses in our downtowns. This is a brewery district in Fresno. A local real estate developer realized that if she brought in a brewery to one of her properties, she owned most of the stuff in one block in their downtown that had been vacant. She realized that the brewery was becoming an anchor, right? We know this. This is not shocking news at all. And she realized that if she leased the rest of her space on the block to other product business owners, it became a destination. None of this is really rocket science at all, but when we get our community leaders to pay attention to our makerspace and the pipeline that it's in through this kind of activation, it becomes an economic driver. 3, the communities that own the entire pipeline will own the sector, right? How do we change our policies to make sure that we're supporting and investing in makerspaces all the way through scaling product businesses in every one of our communities? And there are state policies that are essential to this, as well as local policies that make a big difference. I will say on a side note, I have a card up front. You can take a picture of the QR code later. It's a scorecard to assess your own ecosystem in support of small scale manufacturing in your community, if you'd like some metrics behind it, which I know this crowd probably likes the metrics. So we need to look at real estate and zoning changes and incentives for that. How do we look at things like opportunity zones, if anybody's paying attention to that world, and the investor requirements? How do we create incentives for storefronts to have space for clean, quiet production and maker spaces? How do we expand access to loans? Can we create a 0% interest loan for small product businesses that are in our community? Or create a patient capital where we're looking at taking a % of revenue for a loan instead of the predatory lending that happens in so much of our communities. And how do we connect the network? We have amazing, amazing supply chains in our community, and it is about this personal network, right? All of us connecting, but it's also about connecting the supply chain and understanding the expertise that is needed for those small business owners to continue to scale. So how are we going from this initial education to this economic impact in all of the steps that we're doing? So this is about the talent first, right? This is about the talent in each one of your communities, and each one of our communities in Maryland. I am local, so this is a great opportunity to say our. And the work that you guys are doing in your makerspaces is exactly that first step, to tap into talent, to give people the opportunity to explore and the opportunity to realize there is so much more that they can create. In Columbia, Missouri, when we worked with them, one of the first steps is to talk to the small scale manufacturers in the community, right? It's really design thinking and user research at the most basic level. We talked to as many different small product business owners as we could, and what did we find out? In that community, there were food product businesses being produced at home, bursting at the seams. They couldn't go into supermarkets because they didn't have a commercial shared kitchen to produce in. What did they do? And they also found that there was no programming bringing these businesses together. So they created a pop-up park with vendors. They opened a commercial shared kitchen in the middle of the pandemic, which was immediately fully subscribed. They've built a second space that's larger since then. It has 52 businesses working out of it, predominantly immigrant-owned, predominantly women-owned in that community where they've never had access to that kind of space before. So the three truths. The pipeline runs from bow ties to Boeing. It's one sector. You guys know this. The businesses are bringing new dollars in, and they're keeping them in our communities. This is a message you can bring both to your local elected officials as well as to our state officials when we're advocating for additional funding for makerspaces in the state. And when we own this entire sector, it means opportunity for our communities. It means opportunity for people in our community. And if you would like the workbook, it's the workbook that goes with the book, but the workbook is free. If you want to take it, it's really a DIY in the best sort of way of how do you go about really looking at this sector, understanding the questions to ask, and bringing more business owners into the conversations that you're having. You guys have amazing space and conversations you're having already. It's a great opportunity to add to it. And we just released a new edition in celebration of the 5-year anniversary of the book. So for those of you who do want to get your local elected officials involved, we do have a civic leadership program called ReCast Leaders, where we help local leaders fix the ecosystem, like all of the stuff operating around you guys. And if you want more information about that, you can ask me about it. The one thing I ask of you in all of this is the one change you want to bring to your community. What's the one message or one step you want to bring to your local community to help continue to fight for your makerspace and for this amazing piece of your local economy? Think about that out of this whole day and make sure you're bringing that home with you. And with that, thank you.